Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Oh, well, hello there. Tonight on the show, two strong, wiry, upright gents wear hard hats. Shiver spews loads of hot, sticky verbiage. And David goes all the way with some very weird innuendo. Welcome to the cockpit. It's the relay station.
That's why you wanted a name, the collective noun for penises. Before we went, like, one of the first things we literally said to each other before the show went live is, no, we're not going to plan out fucking anything first. We want to know the collective name, collective noun for a group of penises. And we settled on a cockpit. And now I know why.
I'm sorry. Hello, welcome to the
That's
relay
genius.
station.
Don't be sorry. You pulled that one off really well.
Thank you. I'm proud of it.
I was worried you were going to get shafted, but,
Yeah.
you came up well in the end.
Look, it was hard. For a long, it was hard, but it worked.
Yeah. And now that you're done, you can relax and go flaccid.
It's true, which is what I do every day. Welcome
There's
to
stiff competition out there for it.
Oh, what have I done?
Wanking.
Tits. Welcome to the relay station.
Come on, spit it out.
You know what? You've broken me already.
If you loved me, you'd swallow that.
Normally, Nakara is here to provide some buffer. But there's no buffer this week, so I apologize. This is what you get.
He encourages me, and now he's apologizing for me.
No. I'm not apologizing for you. I'm apologizing for me, because I can't respond. I sit here and nothing comes out.
You're impotent.
Yeah, nothing comes out. Yeah.
If we keep this up, you might end up having a stroke.
I mean, I'm not saying it. I can't say anything. Okay, welcome to the Relay Station, a show where ostensibly 999 demons. Thank you for subscribing, but oh my god, why? Look at what's just happening right now. Why? We're a mess.
You'll notice that we got no new subscribers during that.
Oh, what was that then?
Foreplay.
Oh, that's fair. That's weird. It gave me a subscribing thing. What's going on? Okay, you know what? Start over. Welcome to the Relay Station. It's time for us to talk about
Penis
stars.
jokes.
Penis. It's time for us to talk about penis. Okay.
What is happening over there?
Be a short conversation.
Cassie, I don't know what's happening over here. Can you please help me?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Please help me
not.
with my penis. No.
That's basically how it goes. All right. Star Citizen. We were about to start talking about Star Citizen.
Right. That's right.
We don't have
Got
Nakara.
okay genitals.
I kind of hope that they do. I know they won't, but I sort of wish they went the cyberpunk way and just
What? Had them at the character selection and then never again.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, exactly that.
So there was loot this week.
I'm being asked to look at pictures of birds over there.
I'm sorry.
Thank God it was birds.
What?
Do you like to look at a cock or two?
I just want you to glance over.
It's a very nice bird. I'm in trouble.
Why are you looking at a pair of great tits?
It's not a tit, it's a kingfisher.
Let's move along.
Yeah,
Otherwise, this is going to descend really quickly and badly.
it already has.
We're not at that level yet. No, we're not at that level yet.
Wait, there's another level under this?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
let's avoid it. So I want to start out by saying that
We'll
I
stay on
know
top.
we will. Yeah. Let's get out from beneath this, and we don't have Nakara here this week, so we collectively decided to shelve Bullship for right now. We will return to Bullship later, and also there was a ton of actual news in Star Citizen this week, and I really want to talk about it a lot because, well, they showed off very, very early work at one of the things that has concerned me about Star Citizen for a very, very long time. And I want to talk about that. What's wrong, Shiver?
I was going to take it somewhere else, but then I thought of a clean one of gun customization. More weapons.
Yes. 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 Let's switch over to this. Wait. Okay, here we go. They talked a lot this week about loot. Did you watch this week's episode, this week's ISC, Shiver?
I did.
Good.
I was intrigued by the loot, but disappointed by the lack of mandolin.
Mandolin. Oh, yeah. I've always sort of wanted a loot.
I picture you as a hurdy-gurdy man.
I would like a hurdy-gurdy as well. I mean, those are just cool. I'd also, and you know, everyone can hate me for this if they want, but I've always kind of wanted to learn to play the bagpipes. I find them to be a beautiful instrument. Something wrong there, Shiver?
So this loot. Tell me about this loot system. I heard it dynamically changes considering the state of the system that you're in at the time, and will generate loot that seems appropriate for the area.
So we got to talk about a couple things. First is the way they're doing it right now is manually. And they're able to take a container and say, here are all of the types of things that can spawn in this container, right? So it's actually on screen right there. They've got, in this container, you can spawn light armor, medium armor, and FPS weapons, or, you know, what have you. They can manually change that. And they were talking about it during the show. And something I found kind of interesting is they can change it to spawning armor that is red if they want, like as specific as something like that. Which I can't really think of a reason you'd want to spawn just red armor in an area, but I like that there's the option.
Goes faster.
It does. At least it should. Do you think we can put racing stripes on our armor?
Probably.
I hope so. So for right now, very basic system. Generates loot, which is nice because, you know, we basically haven't had this to this point yet anyway. So once they implement this, it's going to be very nice. Ability to go up to loot containers and find a variety of things in them. Do you have any, like, this is all placeholder, the graphics and stuff, but
This has got a lot of potential, hasn't it? And keeps you out in space. It could keep you out in space a little bit longer before you need to go back, restock, rearm, rather than just hoping that, you know, just take this guy's gun and see if you get a criminal charge.
well, and one of the things they were talking a lot about, which makes sense to me, is the understanding that when you reach a cave and you get to the end of the cave, you want there to be something in that cave that you get.
Point, I suppose, yeah.
Like,
Point to doing it.
because one of the problems right now, at least for me in Star Citizen, is there's no point, right? It's, I don't know. There's nothing driving me to get to the end. There's nothing driving me to explore the place and get to the end and get the new thing and be like, ooh, a new thing. I like new things. Hopefully this will go a little bit in the way of getting there. Now, right now they're manually placing the loot. I guess the stuff that can spawn in loot containers. But Shiver, what you were talking about earlier, do you want to explain that a little bit more? Because the idea that they're... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So if random system X starts off and it's particularly upmarket, lots of cash, trade hub, etc., somehow you come across loot, there's going to be really exotic stuff in there. There's going to be expensive stuff in there. There's going to be stuff you would expect in somewhere that's well connected and rich and got all that good malarkey to it. Over time, depending on what happens with the system, let's, for example, say things start going a bit wrong in that system. They're losing money. Things aren't going quite according to plan. They've probably elected some official that's orange to office, and the economy has subsequently crashed in a complete coincidence because he is the bestest at doing economics. The loot will respond in kind. It'll start getting worse and worse and worse. Whereas before you might have been able to get heavy rail guns, extremely lavish submachine guns and assault rifles, and then because the economy has completely gone tits up,
all you can get is COVID.
You know, start becoming less and less, and the
Yeah.
quality will go down and down.
So
You just respond. I think they're going to be taking. I mean, the most logical way to do that. I can't remember if it was mentioned in there directly or just sort of greatly inferred. Was this is going to tie into Quanta, because this Quanta is going to be the backbone of the system, and is going to be literally aware of absolutely all the states of each system. So it'll know if System X is poor. Therefore, I reference the Quanta system. I reference the poor loot table. Start spawning that crap in there off that. This system here is doing really well, so I can reference really nice shawarma kebab loot system. Bring that in there.
it's
a nice idea, and
it's a really important way for them to get this working also, because right now they've got one system and they are placing loot manually in one system, and it could take them 100 years to manually place enough loot in this one system to make sense, and they have to generate it for 100 systems eventually. So they were talking about how they can define loot volumes for, an entire space station, right? And you can have this entire space station has this loot table, and then as the like the wealth of that space station goes up or down, that loot table can shift. Actually, the example they gave in the show for that was, let's say there is a planet that's had a ton of war, and like it gets blown up all the time, and everyone that goes there is getting blown up, so people start leaving, which means the planet's wealth goes down. Then you start getting worse loot, and I've actually got a problem with that. Dangerous planet, right? So dangerous that normal people don't even want to go there because there's so much violence and death and fighting. That's where the good loot should be.
the risk versus reward thing.
Yes.
You're
Good
right
loot.
from a gameplay perspective, but also from if you err on the real life side of things. I don't think they're going to cut off just because a planet is war torn doesn't mean you're never ever going to find a rare weapon there. It will be a rare occurrence, like a really rare occurrence to find something that's really good on there, but it still happen. And also, it will have other effects to try and drag you in there because this is a war-torn planet. Shit is cheap as fuck there, so you have got reasons to go there. And also, it because everything is cheap as fuck, or it's war-torn, or anything like that. You've got opportunities, a lot of opportunities. Just because the loot may not be there, they've still got to think of a system to get you in there. And the most obvious one is using bounty hunting, offering contracts for escort through there that will have to be an increased reward because of the risk. True, yeah, I see what you mean. From a gameplay perspective, risk versus reward, but they're going to have to balance it in a very different way.
To me, I think that the more war-torn a place is, the more chance there is of you finding a dead person's really nice gun, right? You go to a really nice city, the rich part of town, and I mean, there's probably some nice stuff to take out of people's houses if you're stealing from them, but there's not a lot, like, there's not weapons, there's not stuff. So, I mean, I think it's going to need some fine-tuning, but the exciting part about all of this is when they get it all hooked into Quanta anyway, they can, right? They will be able to fine-tune all of this on the fly for entire systems.
That's one of the advantages for doing this, because you were saying that they've got like 100+ systems to do this in, and rather than have to manually go into each and every system, each and every planet, each and every area to do this, they can just make flags.
Yep.
And it's a heck of a lot easier to do a batch of flags that then the system is aware of than individually placing all these things. And it's also going to have various advantages, like if you're in a system that's primarily known for being operated in by Crusader, is owned by Crusader, why would you start finding bearing weapons or something? I don't know. I'm just picking names out of the sky. That's where the red, your armor that's red comes into it. Things like that. You will find appropriate loot from appropriate manufacturers in appropriate places. Yep. Maybe this particular system you're in, its motif for the security officers is red. So you find red themed stuff every so often, and you're like, ha ha ha, this will go well with my Avenger.
Yeah.
And
I like that idea too of finding relevant stuff in the area. Now I'm gonna switch us back to just us talking so that video doesn't loop over and over for everyone, because wouldn't you rather see our ugly mugs than the beauty that is Star Citizen? But now we get to the question that I still have, that they have not talked about yet, of, okay, they're going to have a loot system. The loot is going to dynamically generate based on quanta. That is great. Glad to see it. Glad to see it being implemented soon-ish. Anything is better than nothing. My question, and this is the question that I still have and still hasn't been answered, and honestly it's not going to be answered till it's ready, but I still want to ask it, is how do they then make the loot itself interesting?
In what regard?
In the regard of, I mean, they've got a lot of ship weapons, for example, but when it comes to personal weapons, there's 3 handguns? There's like 2 or 3 rifles. Like, we're looking at, I don't know, no more than 30 FPS weapons right now. Right now. And I know, and that's going to expand. My question, though, is I've got a rifle, or I've got a Sidewinder pistol, the default pistol, and I make my way through a cave. At the end of the cave, I get to this loot box, and I've had to kill like 6 or 7 guys to get there, and I'm really excited, and I open it up, and there's a Sidewinder pistol. Yes, okay, I can take it and sell it.
Sell it, take it apart, use parts in there to enhance your current pistol.
But they haven't talked about that, right? We still don't know how modding is going to work. We still don't know how loot generation is going to work. That is, the question is going to be, how do they then make the loot interesting?
Actually, with Quanta, there's no real reason that you would have to find a duplicate, because the system would already be aware of what you have on you, what you've got access to. So they may automatically say, oh, hey, he's already got Sidewinder, let's give him something else. Let's give him this golden gun.
Right, and let's say...
And also, loot's not just going to be limited to weapons. There's going to be all sorts of sci-fi junk. You know, it's like sometimes some of the best adventures you have, you log in with your friends and it's like, oh, we'll go and do some mining tonight, and I found this cave. You go to the cave, and then you find this data pad or log or something that sends you on this adventure spanning over systems, and then you come to the end of your 4-hour session with your mates, and you're like, wow, I feel like I need a cigarette after that. It was far better than just mining.
Yeah, and I'm not, I'm not taking away from any of that. But at the end of that session, yeah, you've had a great session, but you all often still want something that improves your character at the end. And there's no leveling, right? There's no stats for your characters. So the only way to do that is your equipment. And yes, there's other stuff that you can loot valuables. You can probably loot, data pads or food or all sorts of things. But in any sort of FPS, people do generally want more guns to use, right? And I know that Star Citizen is not going to go the route of most MMOs with, you've got your gray hammer, then you've got your green hammer, then you've got blue hammers and purple hammers and gold hammers and red hammers and like a whole tier of loot. But I mean, that sort of system does have some benefits to it of this thing is new, it's better, and I'm excited because I got a better thing, right? Even if it's still like I'm using a common Warhammer and then you get a new Warhammer that's a common Warhammer, it just has slightly better stats. It's something new and better. And the worry is, or the question is, how will you find new, better things? I know they're going to be adding lots of like attachments to weapons, which is good. I'm all for attachments, and the ability to swap out attachments on the fly is great. It's something that other competing games still haven't figured out is important, but it is. But I still think there needs I don't know, like anyone else in chat, feel free to weigh in and tell me I'm an idiot, but I think it's important.
I mean, form an orderly queue, first of all, everyone in chat. But I would hope, and this is wild speculation, that the modification system is going to allow for this. You've got your Sidewinder pistol, you find a second Sidewinder pistol. You think to yourself, oh, well, let's take this secondary pistol and see what I can do with it, jig it up. However, in fairness, it's hardly a reward after slogging your way through a cave, in fairness. So you have got a very valid point. But the system they're going for as well means that no loot is ever worthless.
It's
There's
not.
That's not to say there won't be junk items, because there'll be junk items that their only purpose is to sell. But a lot of, if you get a duplicate pistol, there's still things you could do with it apart from sell it.
But it's something like imagine something like Diablo, right? You kill Diablo, and a whole bunch of stuff drops. What are you excited for? Are you excited for the
Closing down the game.
Are you excited for the stuff that drops that you can use, or the stuff that drops that you fill up your inventory and go sell? You're not excited for the stuff that you go sell.
No, but you sell stuff for money. You can then use money to exchange for other goods that you can be excited for.
Yeah, even then though, there have to be enough to be excited for. I think a lot of it is going to be very dependent on the weapon modification system, the customization. In that, and they talked about this years ago, and we just haven't had an update in a long time, but there was the idea a long time ago that every single item in the game would have different stats. Like even two identical ship engines would have slightly different stats. I don't know if that's still in there, but that would be a way to make it relevant, right? You've got your pistol, and at the end of the cave you find a new pistol that does a tiny bit less damage per shot but shoots faster. Right? At least there's some variety there. You can make some choices. There needs to be that it's something different. That's all.
I mean, I completed storyline City of Villains way back in the day. Got to the max level and all this sort of thing. And all I got for it was a fucking badge. I was like, oh. And yeah, I had great fun playing the game and getting to that point, but then like you say, you slog your way through this whole ordeal and then you just get a badge.
Congratulations.
Only you can really see this badge. You can only have one badge on at a time, and it's a title, a not unique title either. It's basically like, I've spent hours playing this game and all I have to show for it is a fucking badge.
Yeah.
So yeah. But the tools are there and the hope is there that Quanta's going to look at this and say, oh, he's done this, we're going to have this there. Because I don't think the loot is even generated until you actually open the box.
I think so. Which, I mean, there's potential. It's just something that I don't want to lose sight of in the lead up to it, right? I think this is great. The loot generation is a great step. They definitely need to do it, and it needs to be simple and easy, and it sounds like they're getting that done. I just want to see a little bit more. Okay. Gonna move us.
It's also got potential for. I'm not quite sure what the word would be. Trapping or griefing. A grey area where I go into this cave, get to the treasure at the end, and I think to myself, I don't like this Sidewinder pistol, so I just write a note that says, "Ha ha, joke's on you." Leave it in the chest, and I sit there and I wait for the next person. I wait for Eris to come along and get to this thing, and he finds this note, and then I just blow him away and take his stuff. Not exactly. I mean, that's not griefing, but that's it's.
But I
a
mean,
mechanic that you could use.
I mean,
So that needs to be something addressed.
It is, though. The one problem with that is, how long are you gonna wait for another person to show up in the exact cave that you're in?
Depends on how desperate for money or shits and giggles I am.
Oh yeah, you'd wait for days, wouldn't you?
Potentially.
All right, let's move on a little bit.
Depends on how much you value the mark as well. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right.
No. Let's move on a little bit from loot, because there is a lot of other stuff to talk about. Because this was a very, very pretty episode of ISC. Since the beginning talked about loot, now we're on to the second half, which is the pretty half. Look at these thruster dusters. The dust being kicked up, like, accurately based on the strength and direction of the ship's thrusters. It's nuts.
Nice, isn't it?
It's
Nice, isn't it?
It's really nice, and it's really insane. I think they were saying during this. Sorry, go ahead.
This isn't going to be final implementation either, is it? Because
This is first pass.
I mean, CIG won't even let you eat an egg without half the egg disappearing. So if you're kicking up dust on the planet, you better believe that. I hope that the planet actually shows some sort of effect, because otherwise it just looks a bit. Oh, that's nice, but I clearly see it's an effect because the planet's still exactly the same underneath.
No. See, it's CIG. So, we got procedural planets, and no one really thought we were going to, and then we did, and they've made them look like not at all procedural. Like Star Citizen's procedural planets don't look like procedural planets. They look excellent, right? They've got them looking really, really good. The next step is they're actually going to voxelize the entire planet. So when you go to land, the actual voxels of the planet are going to scatter and settle. Yeah, that's the next step.
And people say Chris Roberts is fucking nuts.
I think about what they've done with the flower petals.
This is why we don't get devs coming into the chat anymore, because they're like, shut the fuck up. I'm not. Just shut up. Shut up. The only reason Jake comes in here anymore is because he knows us.
Everyone knows that we're being silly. We've been doing
Chris
this.
Roberts, who's just like,
Oh,
yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, let's voxelize individual chicken eggs.
I mean, look, you laugh, but then they go and do this, okay? So don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me, because then they go and do this with flower petals.
Yeah.
Like,
that's slightly different, but it is lovely, isn't it? It's a lovely effect.
But it's not even different, because this is nuts. This is stupid and unnecessary.
Oh, it is absolutely nuts. But this is part of their I hate calling it a sprite system, because that makes me think of something from like 40 years ago with an icon. But it's sprite system basically. It's the same. It's a similar tech, probably based on the same tech that the dust is kicking up and stuff like that. What I would
But
really
like
want
the
to know is
rotation.
how solid are these?
Well,
Yes, it's reacting to the wind and the scenery, but is it going to react to a player? Is this person just going to get a shitload of leaves all over their face?
well, they showed this off, didn't they? Of it reacting to. This is like early work on getting them to react to player footprints through a cloud of leaves, right? And you can see them sort of
Does this mean we have
scatter.
to watch out for bird strikes when we're taking off on a ship?
Yes, I hope so.
I'm not joking.
Oh, no, I know.
If shit gets, is this going to be? How far are they taking this system?
That's the thing. I look at this system and I think this is not something that any game has done. So, you know what? Who's to say I'm crazy by saying they're going to voxelize the entire planet so that, like,
I am.
I know.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that.
They're not. They're not going to do it. But
Hooray!
also, I don't know. I don't know what to say about these blossoms.
You know what this could mean? Snowball fights.
They've got this for flower petals right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Smoke. Like, smoke in games has never done well.
I
Like,
mean that was like the same system that the dust being kicked up uses, and they're showing that off with the fire tech as well.
I know, but like, I'm just imagining
But
like
the smoke is taking it that bit more further, because
Yeah.
if it's on a ship, it's going to affect the atmosphere of the ship.
yes, and it's going to be
Oxygen,
everywhere.
all this sort
But
of crap.
but also as people walk through it, it's going to react. The smoke will react to characters the way these flower petals react to right. Like, smoke in video games is a static thing. You walk through it, it doesn't react. Smoke in Star Citizen, because, well, actually, you think about it, and they kind of have to figure out a way to make it work, because if you've got smoke and fire in your ship and then you open the airlocks, it has to. What?
You know what this means?
What?
All those doubters were right. It is all smoke and mirrors.
Oh, no. Shiver. No, don't do that.
I'm far too proud of that one.
That one was really good. I applaud that one. That one was good. I'm just because we're talking about smoke and fire, I figured I'd switch us over to this, but like this fire propagation, even the way it dripped, like the melting metal drips down on the floor below. I've never seen anything this good looking in a video game ever, period.
I'd like to know what the fuck they're making the ships out of. If just that little bit of fire is making the ship melt, though.
It's Origin. It's all plastic. The thing
That's why
is,
you get an RSI ship. They use real metal.
or Drake, they don't use. Anyway, you look at this.
Fire's a feature, not a fucking.
This is better looking fire and fire damage and smoke than I think I've seen in any video game ever. And you look at the bottom left where it says placeholder visuals. And you think, no, you know what? I'm fine. I'll take that. Like, right now, I would be so happy just with what they have right now. They don't need to improve this. Look at it. Has anything...
There's room for improvement. The flames could be improved quite nicely. The effects are lovely. Yeah, like you said, the sparks and the dripping metal, absolutely lovely. But I think the actual flames could well be improved.
They can be, and
however, they are also they're the same as the particle system. They will move, and this is my universal sign for movement: flames.
That's my universal sign for something else, but
That's fair.
I mean, yeah,
it's lovely, isn't it?
there's room for improvement. Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to improve it. Thing is, if we were shipped the final game and it looked like this, I would not be one bit disappointed. I would look at this and be like, okay, yeah, that's, you know,
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
I mean, you wouldn't be happy because your ship would be on fire, but
Oh, it's not my ship.
oh, that's fair then.
It's an Origin. It's not my ship. I don't know. I could sit here and watch this for a while. I love how it sparks a little bit and then starts and ah.
I mean, it raises a few questions as well of what methods are available or going to be available to us as players to extinguish fires.
Fire extinguisher.
I mean, will it though?
Yes.
And then how long is that? I assume foam or whatever system it's going to use to extinguish a fire going to persist in the ship for? How do I then get rid of this suspicious white goo in the middle of the ship?
So, if this were a normal game, I'd
Well,
say that
Not
I'd
only
say that
what about the fire damaged ship itself? How is that going to be replaced?
you'll have to go and get it repaired. I don't see a way beyond that.
Can I
Except
patch it in? What if I'm in the middle of space? Can I patch it up and just make it acceptable? I've got a few. I'm not trying to knock it or anything like that. I want to know. Okay, this is very cool. It's incredibly good, but where is this going to leave me as a player? What can I do to cope with this? What can I do to fix this? What kind of damage is this going to leave?
So my thoughts are, one of the things they did say is when it switches to the entire area being damaged, that's a half hour later, right? They let this sit for a half hour and then it's damaged that much. If you leave a fire burning on your ship for that long without tending to it, it's your own damn fault.
There. I mean, you might be in a prolonged battle or something like that. This is.
Yep.
There's situations it could occur. You know, you could have been captured by a bounty hunter and distracted trying to find yourself.
You're not going to let that one go, are you?
No, never.
Good.
Not
I
this
like
year.
it. Good. I don't know. There's got to be a way to put it out to repair the damage. Might have some. Maybe they'll start showing us reversing damage when it comes to repair, right? When we start seeing repair, because you're gonna have to be able to repair the inside of a ship as well. This damage system, like the damage system here is completely superficial, right? It's done the exact same way as the exterior damage system of damage hits, it shows another layer, right? Like it's just a different layer of the ship. They're doing the same for the interior. So there's probably going to be a way with a tool to slowly undo it. And oh my god, they just created Ship Flipper, Star Citizen Ship Flipper. Literally, you can have. Oh my! Imagine just taking jobs in Star Citizen. Ship comes in, it's all burnt to hell. You have to go into the ship, repair all the interior, swap out the broken components with new ones. It's.
A lot
How?
of people are hoping for exactly that with the engineering role.
Oh, I know, but can you imagine that being a job you can take as like a
That'd be cool.
a
I mean,
job?
That'd be cool.
That'd be
Wouldn't be
amazing.
cool for me, but it's cool that it's available as a thing.
I hope they do that because I put a lot of time into House Flipper. I'd love Ship Flipper.
The ship comes into dock, and it's like, what is it? Somebody trapped down a well? That kind of flipper.
Yeah, that Flipper. Wait.
But have they said anything about kinds of fire? Because obviously you don't turn off. You don't extinguish an electrical fire the way you would extinguish a wood fire. I hope.
That I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'd imagine in spaceships, you're not going to have a lot of wood fires. It's probably mostly going to be electrical
Origin.
fire. It's all plastic. It's not real wood. There's no real wood anymore. Man, the price of... Think about the price of a 2x4 now. Imagine the price of a 2x4 in 2942. It's worth as much as the planet.
I'm sure the prices will lumber along.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's look at this one. I thought this was important because I have always thought the ships getting hit while they're flying looked fake. Like it's just like the you can see the sparks.
Well, hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
It is fake. It is only a video game.
No, it's a it's a real life simulation, Shiver. You can tell in the old system when the ships get hit, the effects just pop right out of the ship and then they travel along with the ship. In the new system, they are affected by the momentum of the ship. And same with this in Atmo system. The old system, the sparks would fly up, sort of against gravity. In the new system, they fall down. And these are really, really small changes, let's be honest.
But they're going to be far more cinematic.
It's a small change, but it looks so much better with the damage hits trailing after the ship. It looks more like immediately it looks more realistic because they're not following the ship. It's not, I don't know, it just looks less plastic to me.
Yeah. It looks a lot more. I mean, that's always the thing, and that was what Disco Lando was even saying, was they want everything to feel and be natural.
Yeah.
As natural as possible.
They're getting there.
Which, it can help a lot with, because Star Citizen's going to have a learning curve to it, and try to take off as much as you can of, well, if I'm in space, I know I should just have enough momentum to just keep going on forever. If, things like that, things that you should expect to happen, do just happen. So you don't have to go out of your way to learn the basics.
And it's kind of like Uncanny Valley. Like, one of the reasons I think people have questioned the moon landings for so long is, I mean, one, because they're obviously fake. But they're obviously fake. No, it's because they look so unnatural, right? We are used to how people walk in gravity, and seeing people like it looks wrong, and your lizard brain doesn't want to accept that it's wrong. So I look at that old system, and it just irks me as wrong by default, right? The new system, oh yeah, okay, that looks right. And it's just one of those lizard brain things of like, I'm no longer offended by how it looks. I accept. Lizard brains are powerful.
It's just the right amount of realism and fakeism.
Yes. Yeah. Lizard brains.
Yeah, if you stray too far into Uncanny Valley, your brain just is like, no.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it still looks CG, though.
Yeah. But that's fine for now. I find this...
It is CG.
I find this hilarious that they were like, you know what? Let's just do like 40 look devs on how the battle station explodes.
And you know what else this means? Still working on Theatres of War.
Yes. I'd really love to see it, but it's going to be a while. I know that this is for Theatres of War, and it's unlikely we'll get to see this in the Persistent Universe, because
I'd say they'd transport it over. Why? It'd be a waste of time otherwise, wouldn't it?
I feel like it would take a lot to lose a space station in the Persistent Universe, because that's where people spawn. That's where quick, what's a major city in World of Warcraft?
Stormwind.
That's
Wait,
like,
is that right?
sure, let's go with that. That's like Stormwind disappearing off the map because someone blew it up.
True, but then Star Citizen, the egg disappears as you eat it, and then suddenly you bring in this huge fleet of ships and start firing at a space station, and you're like,
You're not wrong.
surely it's going to be possible to do. I mean, maybe not in high sec space simply because of the moment you bring in something that's going to be powerful enough to actually do it. Local forces are going to be on you and stopping you, but the further you get away from more secure space, I'd imagine it'd be possible, and maybe we'll see it.
I hope to.
I
I think
bases is certainly going to be a thing.
yes. One thing though that I wanted to note about this is I don't remember what they said the name of the program was, but so they seemed to be saying at least that, and you can see it. There's stiffness and damping ratios. All they have to do to create all these is change those two numbers, and then it auto simulates, and they can pick which one they like. And in theory, I think they can do that for a lot of things, which might be nice, because we might be able to see more things blowing up. Because who doesn't like a big explosion? Okay. What else have we got? I don't even remember this week. Oh, yeah. New lightning. That is scalable. It's lightning in space.
Shocking, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of a lightning pun, but I don't know. I'm having no luck.
If you think of something, just bolt in with it.
It's very blue.
It's very striking.
There you go. I suck at puns. Good lightning is hard. I think it looks pretty decent. Important, what they were saying though is that they reduced the performance hit for this, so they can have more and bigger lightning without any effect on performance. And that seems to be... So, I was talking to a friend this week. One of my friends, I know, I do have one. One of my friends that had bought Star Citizen at the same time I did, October 2012, but has since it's been 10 years, so he's now ignoring it, right? It's whatever. every once in a while, I'm like, hey, look at this cool thing. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. I'm not, interested in following the game, but that looks really cool. And I'll probably play it when it comes out because I own it. But one of the things we were talking about is he brought up the question of, he was like, I mean, I like that it keeps looking better, but I'm concerned because Star Citizen was already an incredibly ambitious title gameplay-wise, and they just keep pushing all of these things visuals-wise, and I'm concerned that they're wasting time on the visuals. And I was like, well, look, the way it actually works is you've got different people working on all these things, and the people working on the visuals, normally you reach a point in the project where they are either let go from the project or they're moved off to other projects, and the visuals are complete, and you slowly, you've got a couple people on to finish any things that come up in the interim, but you don't have your full staff. And that's not something CIG are doing. They're keeping pretty much everyone on working on everything the entire time. So one, we get better looking stuff, and they're making it cost less performance wise. And I don't know, I always think that that's a really nice bonus that we're getting out of Star Citizen taking a long time, is it's going to look prettier and be less demanding than it otherwise would be. I don't know, that was a bit of a ramble. I'm sorry.
Laughs in 5900X.
I mean, he was also saying that maybe in 3 years when Star Citizen comes out, he'll be able to not afford, but find a graphics card. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the, actually, talking of that, that's one of the advantages of the way that they're using Vulkan, is it is going to properly use the hardware you have. Admittedly, yes, I know, your CPU instruction set is not built for the same calculations at the same speed that your GPU is, but it's going to help. So
Yeah.
if you have got an average to weeks GPU, I'm not saying your CPU is going to pick up the slack, but if you've got a strong enough CPU, it's going to help. So you're not just going to be like, oh, this frame's nice. 1 week later, this second frame's not bad.
I mean, they have to. They have to do everything they can to pull out every inch of performance that they can, because Star Citizen is... I think that Squadron 42, based on things that we've seen, and based on the improvements that we know they're making, I think Squadron 42 has every possibility to be the best looking video game to this point.
It's hard to judge these things because everyone's got objective beauty. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 for me is still a gorgeous looking game.
Yes.
It's
I
it's
think
nowhere near the best looking game.
No.
But it looks great.
I acknowledge the subjectivity in it. I think that something simple like Breath of the Wild looks phenomenal, and it does it really simply. But I think like Squadron's gonna be a looker. What else we got? What else was this week? I don't actually know what they did much in Star Citizen Live. I believe they, worked on in-fiction ship commercials, which is cool, but I didn't, to be honest, watch it, so.
I like the in-game commercials, and it kind of gives me a bit of a grin to think about my ship's burning, but it's like, oh, hang on, I like this one.
Well, honestly, one of the things that Relay and INN had wanted to do for a long time, and the only reason we're probably not going to is because all of our lives have changed significantly in the last 5 years, is way back when we started, there was talk about in-universe television content. And we wanted to find a way to do that in-universe television content ourselves and be on screens in the verse as inverse news. Which,
Pretty well versed.
yeah, we wanted to be very well versed. Not going to happen anymore. But I still think
We've reversed ourselves on that.
Yes. Yes.
You could see the enthusiasm from his face, literally ebbing away with every joke.
I'm just no, it's not the enthusiasm. It's I hear that from you and I'm like, okay, pun. Come up with one. We related way too long. That doesn't work. Yes. It just, my mind is, I'm tired and my brain just isn't making connections right now. I'm like, there's got to be something. There's something I can say here, and it's just not. It's just not.
And this is why your job as hostage negotiator did not last long. Lemming Sunday, they called it.
Oh.
No one survived,
I made a real
including the
mess.
police who were with him at the time.
I did make a real mess of that one. What? What was I saying? I think I was saying something, and it's gone.
You were lamenting how we were going to be an inverse
yeah.
news station, reporting on the news and stuff.
I thought that would have been
And
fun.
lives have changed and time has progressed. Yeah, I mean, it could still potentially happen, but the problem is, when it comes to creating something like that, it needs to be done regularly
Yeah.
on absolutely everything as much as you can, and we don't have the time for that. None
Yeah.
of us have the time for that. We have the enthusiasm, we have the want, but that's when that moment of basically, you know, I finished my real life job. Now I come home and I turn on the PC and I start my fictitious job.
Yeah. But I like the idea of inverse ship commercials. I hope they do something like that, of like an inverse. They have to have television content for screens throughout the verse of, you know, breaking news. Stanton is being attacked by tentacled aliens. Look out for their suction cuppy grips. I don't know. Like, there have to be there have to be news bulletins, and there have to be things, and I don't know. They'll get to it, I suppose, because we're not going to anymore.
I mean, they haven't spoken about it for a very long time, so things change, obviously. But
Well,
the Reliant News van is built for that.
it's built for that. We don't know how it's going to work yet. Interestingly, at the time when we were talking about it, we were talking about how one of the pieces of tech that it would actually rely on was picture-in-picture capabilities, and we know that they've got that now.
I mean, you could take it. They could potentially take it even further because they're using Amazon Web Services for the actual services. Amazon owns Twitch. You don't even have to necessarily be logged into the game to go and watch Star Citizen content. You could just go to a
Yeah,
Twitch channel and watch it like that.
I still
The
think
problem with that is, though, that's going to be a huge bandwidth hog because not only are you in an MMO, you're also broadcasting at the same time. And yeah, good point. It's fair to say that many people have an internet connection that can cope with that. Many people won't want to cope with that because it's always I need as much I need as less latency as possible. I need all the bandwidth for me. And then there are people who just do not who barely have the bandwidth to play the game, let alone stream it at the same time.
And then there's Australians.
Or Australia.
Right?
Or Japan.
Yeah. Something about being on the other side of the world from everything important.
And we usually connect to Hong Kong or Singapore.
You're far away. Do we have any questions?
No.
None. Well, that's a letdown.
None.
No one's asked any questions. I'm disappointed.
Did you hear about... I'm going to tell an anecdote instead.
Okay.
Did you hear about the latest U2 concert? This is an old one, so bear with me. He probably doesn't know this.
No.
Bono, I like to call him, called for silence in the middle of the concert and just started clapping his hands every so often. Yeah. And he said, every time I clap my hands, a child in Africa dies. Someone in the audience puffed up and shouted, stop doing it then, you evil bastard!
Was it you?
I would go to a U2 concert.
I'm just saying that's 100% the kind of thing you'd say.
That's true. That is something I would say.
You would absolutely be the bastard pointing out.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Miami.
Hey, Miami. How's it going?
But yeah, questions. Any questions? Otherwise,
Actually, shoot,
Eris has to go and do something.
I have a question. I thought...
Oh, shit.
No,
Use
like,
the form.
did 3.14 actually come out yet, or is it still in PTU only?
Still PTU.
Okay. It's too bad. I really want to hop into to 3.14. I want to see the flower petals. I really want to see the flower petals.
I need to get a HOTAS stand again. I've got a HOTAS stand in the UK. Great, proper, stupidly expensive metal thing, which obviously, because it's entirely metal, if I get it shipped over here, is gonna cost me a left testicle.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a right one, so why not? Wouldn't it be great if you could be like, you know what? Yes. Here, you could have my left testicle. I have no need of it. Give me the thing.
Who's gonna pay for bollocks, though?
I don't know.
You tell you're tired. You've let me get away with a lot this week. Thank you.
You're welcome. I am very tired. I've been having that age-old fight in my head of I really want to start playing Star Citizen again and fly, but I genuinely can't decide on HOTAS or keyboard and mouse.
It depends on what you want out of it. I mean, obviously, keyboard and mouse, first of all, is far more convenient because it's just... And you will never beat the accuracy of the mouse.
I know.
No matter what. HOTAS is great fun. It's not as useless as, it would be in many other games because of EMP. Is it EMP? No, not EMP. Someone tell me the thing. Where it slows down your input so you can get far more accurate shot on the joystick. You know what I mean. You know that thing.
The thing.
Wonderful implementation. Yeah, the thing. ESP. That's good, an immersive, fun way to do it. If you get the right HOTAS as well, you've obviously got crap load of inputs and things. So the objective with a HOTAS is you are never taking your hands off the HOTAS, and combine the HOTAS with something like voice attack, and you're in nerd heaven. Not gonna lie, it's pretty amazing to do that sort of crap. Hands on stick and stick is possibly the best in between method, because it's fantastic for 6 degrees of freedom, and with ESP as well, you've still got the accuracy, but then you've got to get used to
Keeping your hands on both of the sticks at a time.
There it is. Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't demonstrate that, because that would have been a GIF.
What? Just two sticks at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manipulating those 2 sticks at a time, and it's a pretty good method, but it's also apparently a little bit of a nightmare to set up. I don't know if it still is, but there are many people out in the community that have given guides, and input guides will help.
I mean, I've got I don't know if I'd say it's a decent HOTAS. I think it was the last... I don't know if Cytec are still around or if they've died.
They got bought out by Logitech
Yeah.
yonks ago.
I have the last Cytec created HOTAS, the X56 Rhino.
X52.
X56.
It's X50. Oh yeah, the X52 is yeah. It's hit. I think the X56 was hit and miss. If you had a good one, you had a good one. If you had a bad one, you had a bad one, and you were kind of screwed.
Yeah. I actually had to... They sent it to me to test, and I had to return one of the two.
Oh, there you go.
So...
mainstream manufacturers, I'll say, like Logitech, Thrustmaster. Those are two really mainstream that you might recognize the name of instantly. The Warthog's all right, fucking solid. Will break your foot if it drops on it. It's nice enough. It has its own issues. I mean, that Warthog stick is like trying to encourage a pregnant rhino where to go, and you're not going to have a good time if you've got something like a Gladius moving around, because I'll fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pound. That is a stiff stick.
Very hard.
Yes. Outside of the mainstream manufacturers, I'm very keen on CH. The software has been sadly discontinued, but is still freely available. I love their shit. I think it's fantastic. It's got a few issues, especially the pedals being very close together and being given the nickname the Nutcracker. But you don't have to, blow a fortune out to buy their stuff. Then there's Virpil.
I've heard of Virpil.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Really good stuff. Their joysticks are phenomenal. You have to get, I don't know if you still do, but when they first released their more recent product, you had to get on a waiting list to get it, and very high praise, apparently. Pedals wise, there's the MFG Crosswind, which each unit, the guy builds it for you. And
Really?
Not only are they really good, I believe so, they look really good as well. They're really swish and smart, but you will be paying quite a pretty penny for all this.
Yeah.
And then mixing and matching as well, you're going to have several different softwares all running, and if you get a bit fussy about, I don't like having too much running at the same time, it's a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna boot it back up and just run with the Cytec, see if I can get used to HOTAS, and otherwise, I don't know. I can do some damage with a keyboard and a mouse.
It's an accurate way to. The problem is, though, you're playing a spaceship with a keyboard and mouse, and it's always a bit.
I know, it doesn't feel right. Like, I know I'm good with it, but it doesn't feel right. And I suck with the HOTAS, but it feels right. And it's, do I want to, like, be good and survive? Or do I want to feel like I'm flying the ship and just die all the time?
Supposedly, I don't know if it is still reigns true. The absolute best input method and still most immersive is a HOTAS with VR.
I absolutely hope
Use a
that
headset to
Yep.
target.
I absolutely hope that Star Citizen will have VR support at some point. They're supposed to. I do want to when I play again set up even just the VoIP tracking, because even the or not the VoIP, it's not Track IR, it's their face tracking, because the face tracking will allow you to look a little bit, which would be helpful. But yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting for 3.14 to so I can. I don't play PTUs anymore. One, I found it's a pain to have another install on my machine. I don't like it. And two, I don't know, they're buggy. I'd rather play the slightly more stable version of the product than the buggy as fuck version that I don't know if I'll be able to play because it's buggy.
Never be asked to set up my HOTAS. And voice attack.
I haven't used voice attack in a long time.
Really enjoy it. I highly recommend it. If you want a really, really fun nerd experience today with your HOTAS and voice attack, either MechWarrior 4 or MechWarrior 5. Great fun.
Miami, that's like way more than I'm even willing to do.
You don't even need to move it, Miami. Just rename the folder from PTU to live.
Look, you're both
Life hack.
you're both like that's stuff that I don't have the energy to do.
What? Type out 4 letters.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm tired. Also, and I mean, to be real, the main thing is I just don't have time. There's a lot of video games and I like a lot of them. So I don't want to play Star Citizen PTU. I'll play it when it's live. I don't want to play the PTU because I've only got so much time and there's other things I want to try in that time. I just got a PS5. There's games to play.
Here I am just buying more and more TTRPGs. No games satisfy me anymore. It's true, he has got no time. I asked him before we did this, do you want to come play Homeworld TTRPG with me? And he's like, oh, I don't have time.
I used to play hockey once a week, every week for, I mean, it's an hour. A hockey game is an hour. And getting to and from the arena is an extra half hour. So an hour and a half a week. And as we eke our way out of COVID, at some point, hockey's going to start up again. Right now, it's not happening because you have to be indoors, and it's not happening. Some point soon, it's going to start up again, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my schedule, and I'm trying to be like, and I just can't. I don't have the time to even do an hour and a half a night once a week. And man, that makes me sad.
Is it true that if you don't play hockey in a period of 6 months, you have to renounce your Canadian citizenship? Or have they relaxed that law because of COVID?
They've relaxed it because of COVID. It's no one's been allowed to play hockey, so. But we do have to. There is still the monthly requirement of going out and taking all the tape off your stick and retaping your stick. That you're not allowed to get out of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Shiver, how do you not know
Why do you
about
put
tape?
tape on your stick?
Okay, because the stick is wood or like graphite or whatever material it's made of. But the puck doesn't react well to solid wood. It will hit it and bounce. It's uneven and you have no control. So you take your stick and then you tape the stick to give that part of your stick more grip for the puck. And it's sort of like padding, so that the puck doesn't hit your stick as hard and doesn't bounce off as hard. It's a little bit of padding and a little bit of grip for your stick. Also, as a stick rubs on the ice as you're skating along, as it rubs along, it chafes, right? And
You don't want your stick being chafed.
no, you don't want your stick being chafed. That's exactly what I'm getting at. So it's you know, the tape is like a really thin layer. It's a little like almost like a condom.
So why don't they just put something on the stick when they manufacture it?
Because it would run off. The sticks actually, as you're
You
playing,
find there's no running in hockey; it's all skating.
the sticks as you're playing, even with tape on them, the tape rips through on the bottom, and the stick itself will start to rip through. So every couple of games, you actually have to retape your stick so that they don't get destroyed. And seeing as sticks nowadays can be like $80 to $300, you don't want your stick to break. Oh yeah, the cheapest stick you can get nowadays is like $80. And that's a cheap stick. I miss hockey.
You can tell.
Miss a lot of things. Are we almost like out?
I mean, we got 10 minutes. Do you want to do a dance?
No, I don't want to do a dance. No, Miami, I never hit anyone because I'm a goalie, so I just get hit. I miss, you know, sports and going out and seeing other humans.
Ugh. They're overrated.
Most of
So
them
you know how
are.
we had the Olympics here?
Yeah, oh my god, it's stupid, but yes.
Which, oh yeah, the Prime Minister was actually against it. The governor of Tokyo, she was against it. The guy they put in charge of the Olympics was like, "We're going to do it. It's going to be great for the tourism."
What tourism?
No tourists. No tourists can fucking come in here, you stupid moron. And anyway, there's also a vaccine shortage, so no one's getting vaccine. You know, if you had your first shot, you'll still get your second at some point, but no one is getting any new shots. This week, 10,000 new cases. Who'd have thunk?
Alberta.
They're using the honor system for people who are coming in for the Olympics. They're giving them the honor system
Really?
to say, you know, just stay. No cunts fucking applying to it. They're all out on the streets of Tokyo, even though the fucking streets of Tokyo, everything closes at 7. So they're just on the streets, drinking, no masks, shouting. They're declaring a state of emergency.
Alberta had the Calgary Stampede, which is a big deal in Alberta. A lot, you know, thousands and thousands of people show up. Anyway, they're seeing a spike. Their response to the spike is they are no longer going to require people who test positive for COVID to vaccine, or to not to vaccine, to quarantine. So people who have tested positive for COVID will no longer have to quarantine. That is their response to a spike in cases.
So when are you bringing back the glory holes?
That was BC. BC are progressive. Albertans are very conservative.
I've never heard a glory hole thought of as progressive before.
I mean, look, that story came out at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was thought of as very progressive. Like, this is a health institution giving sex advice during a pandemic? Who does that?
I mean, it's needless to give sex advice when the fucking instructions are stay the fuck indoors.
I think this was actually before we had even
Invite
reached
stran-
that, but
drill
yeah.
a small hole in your door and invite strangers over.
I think it was for consensual that you could do without exchanging like
Christ, I mean, the fucking
face
mailman
liquids.
comes over every morning and he's like, well, I don't know about this, but I'm just going to roll with the flow.
Miami, I'm with you there. I'm glad you guys got vaccinated as well. I hope everyone does, and I hope everyone stays safe. You know what, Shiver? We have completely and totally run out of things Star Citizen to talk about.
We did 20 minutes ago.
I know. And I'm really,
I
really
said, "Let us go
tired.
this long."
I'm really, really tired. So we're going to end a couple minutes early, guys. Shiver, what do you got going on this week?
This week, hopefully, if I can get it written in time. London by Gaslight, Thursday, day after, over on Twitch TV, Table of Horrors, is Oxford by Night. It's fun. Good shit. Vampire Masquerade, we do the role-playing and the spooks, and yeah.
Ghosties.
Come watch, it's fun.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, at some point during the week as well, we play something and talk bullshit.
Sort of like we do here.
Yeah, except far worse because I don't have to censor myself.
Which, yeah. Why do you... I mean, no, I know it's probably good that you censor yourself on here. Everyone should go watch Shiver in his natural habitat.
I think of something. There's why is it I can never think of decent occurrences when it's on time, when it's needed.
All I will say is also come back here next week for... I think next week will probably be a mix of news and bullshit. So we'll probably do a couple ships as well as the Star Citizen news. So come back in 1 week for that. And join us on Tuesdays for the Unnamed Game Show, where we talk about other video games that exist, because there's a lot of them and some of them are really good and we like playing them. So thank you everyone for coming out and listening to us ramble and gush about loot and fire and men in hard hats and
Glory holes.
seamen. And it's been great fun. Look, I think that seamen are wonderful people. They do really important jobs, ferrying supplies and food and goods all around the world. Don't knock seamen.
Find that hard to swallow.
You'll get it down. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope you have good weeks, and I hope you stay safe, and I hope you get vaccinated, and I hope that you all win $12 million in a lottery.